Hey guys, what I'd like to do for you all in this video is show you the ACEPC Mini PC. Now in one of my last videos I unboxed this and I showed you the PC itself. I showed you all the ports and I opened it up to reveal a 2.5 inch hard drive slot, which if you want you can put in a 2.5 inch SSD, which if you use for your main drive for Windows you'll get a lot better performance and additional storage, of course. What I would like to do for you in this video is just show you this running and just give you my initial impressions of what it's like to use this. Now, I'm not sure you can consider this a complete review. That's the kind of thing that you should really spend a few weeks with, you know, to really see what something can do. But I've got a good impression as to what this can do from a performance point of view. So if I jump over to my overhead camera, I just want to quickly show you this setup because connected to the ACEPC, I have this very old Microsoft optical mouse, which I don't even know if they sell these anymore. But if you see the mouse moving slowly, it's because of this. I've also got this keyboard connected to the ACEPC. Now, I've kept this mouse and this Bluetooth keyboard connected to my main PC here. I've got wires going through to the ACEPC, but I do have my Xbox controller connected to this just to really demonstrate that the Bluetooth is working. But before I jump over and show you the PC running, I just want to go over the specifications quickly again. Now, I did go over this in my unboxing video and I talked about specifications, but just to show you it again, this is a mini PC that comes with Windows 10. It's got an Intel Celeron J4125, 8GB of DDR4 memory, 120GB of eMMC storage, which is embedded multimedia card. It's got 4 cores. The Wi-Fi is 2.4G and 5G. Can do 4K at 60Hz, and it's got an HDMI and VGA output. That's what it says, and that's the listing there. But what I'll say is that, as I showed in the last video, this actually has 2 HDMI outputs at the back, which I think is really, really good because a lot of people will use this either as a media device for watching Netflix and Amazon Video and things like that, or they will use that to play games. So I think it's good having the 2 HDMI inputs there. But I've kept it simple just now. I've got one going to my monitor here, and if I change it to this, this is it. This is the ACEPC. This is what you're looking at just now. And you can see that right away I've got some benchmarks up here because I wanted to see what the performance was like from that 120GB eMMC drive. And Crystal Disk Mark is saying that it gives you 282.51 for reading and 120 for writing. AGA Systems is saying it's slightly better for writing, 130 megabytes. And it's 257 megabytes per second for reading, so a little bit less. But this is the kind of test where if you do it again, you might get a slightly different result. Every time it writes it, you get a slightly different result. So you can see it's even better there for writing now, and the reading score is a little bit better as well. So I would say that it's okay. You know, that kind of performance is okay, but certainly, like I was saying, if you put a solid state drive into the 2.5 inch drive slot at the top here, which is very easy to remove one screw, pop it open. It's really cool how it works actually. Once you put that drive in, you could probably get about 500, 600 megabytes per second for reading and writing, kind of up to that standard. So that's probably the main upgrade I would suggest for this type of mini PC. You know, this is something that you can put behind a TV or a monitor or something, or you can just put it underneath your television. And yeah, I think that's a sensible upgrade. You could spend like £50 basically to get much, much better performance, which I would have liked to have tested for you guys, but I just don't have time to run out and buy another drive right now because I'm moving house. So I want to show you a few things, right? You know, I've got the task manager up here, and you can see the CPU, Intel Celeron J4125. It's not really being pushed right now. There's 8GB of memory, and we've got UHD graphics 600, so it's coming from the CPU. I just want to quickly show you some other things. We'll see here, disk management. So we've got disk management here, and you can see the drive. This is how Windows set it up, and you can see the storage 116 after the, you know, you've got the recovery partition, etc. Device manager as well. Where is that? Where's the device manager? Why? Oh, there you go. I could not find that there. Okay, so yeah, device manager is fairly straightforward as well. What I did was when I loaded this up, you know, it's the usual Windows installation process, very straightforward. And I just went through and I performed the required Windows updates, and I ran the Intel Support Assistant as well to update some of the drivers. And you can see I've installed Asphalt 9 Legends, which is a little driving game. And that's why this video is at 1080p at 60 frames per second, because I want to show you that game. Now, what I would say is that I've installed some laptops and things that do add a ton of games and, you know, kind of bloatware to Windows, but it's not too bad, actually. It's pretty much just stock Windows 10 Pro. It's, you know, nothing spectacular there, but yeah, that's good. Really good. Absolutely no problems there. Now, what I've got here is an internet speed test, right? And in the internet speed test, they're actually using speedtest.net service here, but the reason I'm using this website is because they don't display your IP address. So it saves me having to do any editing later on. Now, where is that? So what you're looking at right now is the Wi-Fi speed. Now that is not good. That's a lot lower than what I would normally get, but it was a lot quicker than that earlier. That could be from my internet connection. But what I'd like to do is put in the Ethernet cable. I'm going to connect to Ethernet because you can see I've got really good uploads there. I think that's a problem with what do you call it, with the internet, with Virgin Media, but we shall see, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch off Wi-Fi. I'm still connected to the internet, and I'm going to try it again. So hopefully we'll get a better speed here. So right away with an Ethernet connection, I'm getting a better download speed and a better upload speed. Now, when I tested the Wi-Fi earlier on today, so you can maybe read between the lines there, you could tell that I was a little bit surprised there, because when I tried it with the Wi-Fi earlier, I was getting about 80 megabytes per second with Wi-Fi, and upload was about 19 or something. So it was lower than with the Ethernet, which is what I've got connected now, but it was still okay. For a device like this, it's okay. I mean, as a media device, it's okay. It's certainly quick enough to use Netflix and things. I've not had a chance to transfer files between the actual network to see really how good it is. But if I take out the Ethernet connection again, and I'll go back to Wi-Fi. Oops, I didn't want to do that. I want to switch on Wi-Fi. If I go back to that, I'll just run it again just to see if we get a better result. Now, one of the reasons why that's maybe changed is because I did update the Wi-Fi adapter, and I did update the Bluetooth driver as well. So there, it's quicker again right away. So I was maybe a little bit unfortunate with that last result. In my main PC, the Wi-Fi card seems to perform just as well as my Ethernet connection, but in here, the Wi-Fi connection does seem to be a little bit slower. And it's not easy to get into the bottom of that and replace that, but I would say for a device such as this, the Wi-Fi connection and Ethernet connection, I think for most people should be okay. It should be okay. Ideally, you want to use Ethernet. You can see there's a difference in speed there, but the Wi-Fi connection the Wi-Fi card I've used does not seem to be as good as what it should be. Certainly in my laptops and things like that, I do get faster speeds with the Wi-Fi card, but Ethernet will eliminate that. And if you're using this, to with an entertainment center or a media device, I would probably use Ethernet. That's what I would do. But anyway, let's move away from that. I'll stick on Wi-Fi just now. And I'm just on the BBC website. And really what I just want to do is just kind of skip around and, yeah, just show you what it's like to use this, because it sounds like a silly thing to do here, but this is kind of what I think this is good for. It's good as a media device for Netflix and for watching videos and things like that. But I think this is great as well. Stick this behind the monitor, and this is just a lightweight computer, something that you can use for Facebook, for browsing the web, for shopping, for banking and different things like that. You don't have to worry about anything about security. I mean, this has got Windows 10. It'll be updated just like any other Windows computer, but performance seems really good, actually. I'm really surprised by how good this Celeron CPU performs. Now, as far as the fan noise goes, which if I switch over to this just now, as far as the fan noise goes, there is a little bit of noise when it goes up to like 100%, but it's very quiet, quieter than any of the laptops that I've got, apart from the Surface Pro, which doesn't have any fans. So yeah, the fans do kick in, but they're not loud at all. And if you've got it sitting away from you, like at a television or something like that, you wouldn't even notice the fans are on. It's really, really quiet, which is to be expected because you've got a lightweight CPU and you've got eMMC storage. It's not like you've got a mechanical drive in there. So yeah, from a performance point of view, the Celeron's performing better than I thought it would. But let's not kid ourselves here. This is still a Celeron CPU. Yes, it's a quad-core CPU, which you can see down here. 4 cores, 4 logical processors. But this is not a top-of-the-line CPU. It's a bottom of the line CPU. This is definitely at the bottom of the market, but I'll be honest with you, I'm quite impressed. And it's a reminder that, you know, years and years ago, I'm talking like 15, 20 years ago, Celeron was a bad word because Celeron CPUs were almost unusable. You could pretty much not even use the computer. It was so slow, it was so sluggish, and I hated them. I did hate them because I used them in a few setups that I had. But things have moved forward. I mean, now we've got a quad-core Celeron CPU, and I'm actually quite impressed with the performance of this. Now, you can look at benchmarks and all that, and I did do that in my last video, but really when it comes to something like this, for me, you know, the proof is in the pudding as far as just testing it and using it. So what I've got here is my unboxing video, the one that I was referring to. So right now, you can see that it's talking away. Well, I'm talking away. I don't know why I'm referring to myself in third person. I'll mute myself just now. So you can see that's 1080p. Playback seems really good. You know, I don't seem to have any issues with it, but I had uploaded that video in 4K. And, you know, I'll just skip to here. So this is a 4K video, 4K at 30 frames per second, and it seems to be handling it quite well. I mean, I'm looking at it here on the main screen and on OBS, and there's no stuttering. There doesn't seem to be any kind of lag, nothing like that. Everything seems okay. So this does seem like this will handle Netflix in 4K, no problem. I don't think it's going to have any problems with Netflix or anything like that. It's performing really well, and it seems to handle videos really well as well. Obviously, you know, this doesn't have any speakers or anything like that. You're going to have to hook up to a television or a monitor with speakers, or hook up your own speakers to, you know, USB or via the headphone jack and things like that. But what I would say is, the reason I've got these tabs open, what I would say is that internet speed seems okay. The Wi-Fi card on the surface of it seems a little bit slower than Ethernet, which is always the case, but it does seem a little bit slower than other Wi-Fi cards I've got. Browsing the web and all that, absolutely no problems at all. This just breezes through it. It's really good. From a performance point of view, it's really good. And videos on YouTube, I've not noticed any kind of lag, any kind of problems with that at all. I really haven't. And, you know, it does seem like a very good device to use as far as just general computing. This seems like a nice little computer to have. It really does. And it's a very clean experience. As I said, there's no bloatware there. So I'm quite impressed with it. I really am. But what I'd like to do just now is show you me playing a game. I think that's one of the best ways to show you performance. Now, if I go down here, you can see Bluetooth devices. And if I do this should come on. Xbox wired controller connected. So you can see the Xbox controller is connected. No problems there. You can actually see me moving it around like that. It's in the screen now. So yes, I've got the controller. I don't seem to have any problems with the Bluetooth. I could have tried obviously the mouse and the keyboard, but I've got those connected to something else right now. What I want to quickly show you before I show you the game though is just the display. Now, this can do up to 4K at 60 Hz, and that's what it says in the sales listing. But the monitor that I'm using right now is actually a 1440p monitor. It's 2560 by 1440. Now, if I show you this, you can see it's limited to 1080p. Now, this is not the fault of the monitor. The reason it's limited to 1080p right now is because I've got it through my game capture card, which is limited to 1080p. So effectively, this PC right now thinks I'm connected to a 1080p monitor, but I'm not. Before I had connected up to the Elgato, I had this at 120 Hz at 1440p, and it was running fine, absolutely no problems. Now, I probably could have got 144 Hz as well, but normally I need to download like the NVIDIA driver or something like that to get that working correctly. I reckon I could get the right driver if I looked into it. So I haven't tested it yet, but this was displaying on a 1440p monitor at 120 Hz. I believe I can get it to 144. But yeah, from a resolution point of view, you can connect larger monitors to this. 4K is 60. It looks like it handles 1440p, excuse me, 144 Hz as well. Unfortunately, I just can't show you that right now because I've got it connected to a 1080p game capture card. So yes, I just wanted to clarify that. So this is Asphalt Legends 9. I think that's how you pronounce it. The gamepad is connected. And what I'd like to do for you in this section of the video is just show you how the ACEPC performs with this game in 3 different settings, because the default settings, as you'll see, the default settings are medium. And medium, if I bring up here, medium is 100% resolution, full screen, FPS limit 60, and then it's got bloom, God rays, and depth of field. So that's the default settings, and I'll show you what it's like with those settings. So you can probably notice that there's no background music. The reason being that the second I upload a clip of this footage with background music, it will be claimed by the creator of said music on YouTube. So I cannot display it, but that's okay because we just want to show you the footage anyway. So it wants me to do a 360. So you do that, you get a boost. So I've been playing the game kind of on and off, just kind of trying to get a better idea as to how this performs as a system. And I think medium settings is perhaps where this is balanced correctly. Some would argue that you have to drop it down because I think the graphics look good in this, and I think this is pretty impressive that ACEPC can do this. But there is a little bit of slowdown as well from time to time, and you might not notice it just now, but every so often you'll notice a little bit of kind of jittering, a little bit of kind of lag. I need to do a little spin to boost here. It's nothing major, but it is there. It is there. From time to time you will see a little bit kind of slow down, a little bit of kind of lag, a little bit of kind of jittering with the frame rate there. So what I'd like to do now is just move up to high settings, and then we'll see how the ACEPC performs there. So high settings have been applied. So as you would expect, graphics are going to be a little bit better here. Now, my experience of playing a few games in high settings is that, yes, it looks better, but there is a lot of lag, and you'll notice it just now. I would say that this is unplayable. It becomes very frustrating having to play it like this, and it's just not fluid. It really isn't fluid at all. I mean, you should be able to see this. There's just too many frames skipping here, and it just doesn't look, well, the graphics look good, but the actual the frame rate looks like it's dropped. It's lagging. It doesn't look good, and I'm kind of jittering all over the place, and I'm going to get a terrible finish here. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see this because it does show you what this can do in high settings, but I don't think it's playable at this level. So the settings are now at low, and you will notice the graphics changing. They just don't look as good, and certainly moving from high to low, you will notice those differences, and you will notice that the graphics aren't great. Now you saw there that the default frames per second for low is 30, but I've changed it back to 60. So it's kind of a little bit, call it low plus. But whilst I do think the medium is a good balance between good graphics, I would say from a gameplay point of view, low settings is arguably where you want to be with this game when you're using the ACEPC. You can notice that the graphics, even just looking around the card, there's just a few things that just don't look as refined. And I would say though that this is without doubt the most enjoyable way to play this game, despite the graphics not being as good. But you could argue that medium is better, but I've still not got a good position. But as you've seen there, I've played it in medium, high, and low, and I think the game is playable in medium and low. High is just not playable. But in hindsight now, playing all those 3 games at different settings again, I would say that low was the best option there. And I think that's what you're going to have to do with every game that you play for this. You're going to have to try and find the right resolution, the right frame rate, and the right graphical settings to make sure that you can still enjoy the game. So before I summarise my thoughts of the ACEPC, I'd just like to show you it loading up, because I think boot times are important. So you can see it's not on just now, but if I hold this up, I push the power button, you'll see the blue light coming on, and it should flash up. There we go, ACEPC. Now remember, I'm not using a 2.5-inch SSD, I'm using the provided 120GB eMMC drive, the embedded multimedia card storage. But look at that. That's how quickly that loads up. And you would get improved loading times if you did use a 2.5-inch SSD and install Windows onto that. But to me, that's really impressive. So many thanks to ACEPC. They did send this out to me for review, and I do appreciate companies that do that because it helps support the channel, but it never influences what I like and what I don't like. If you don't believe me, check out my review of the Dragon Touch Max 10, which I did recently, because there was a lot of things I didn't like about this, such as the battery and the security. I was using a really old version of Android. But I digress. With the ACEPC, there's not really much about this I don't like. And I think the main reason for that is because my expectations were, I guess you could say low, but I think it's fairer to say my expectations were realistic. This retails at £240, and for £240 you get a Windows 10 Pro device, which in my opinion is extremely versatile, because this is a low power device which you could put into your living room and just put it underneath your television and use it for Netflix and Amazon Video, or just as a way to browse the web, using a Bluetooth keyboard. Certainly this is more powerful than, say, my Amazon Fire Stick, which I currently use for media. This would be a lot better. Plus I could store my own videos and all that as well. But I can envision this being used in a lot of different ways. You know, you've got Visa mounts there, which you can attach to the back of a monitor. So this could be quite a discrete computer which you've got displayed behind a monitor or television. Or one of the things that I've thought about using it for is a retro gaming device. You know, just installing Emulation Station and using it to play lots of classic games from the 80s and 90s, and perhaps even up to the early 2000s. There's a lot of ways to use this, and even from a computing point of view, I can see lots of, you know, like cryptocurrency and different things that you could use a little computer like this. Now, another thing I do like about this is the design. So if I quickly jump over to my overhead camera again, I'll show you the design, and you've got this nice little blue icon there to show you that it's powered on, and it is plasticky. There's no getting away from the fact that this does have a plasticky kind of device, but it's really easy to pop open that top part to add your own SSD. So you've got the power button there, you've got a micro SD card slot, and you've got two USB 3.0. There's no Thunderbolt 3, so you won't be adding an eGPU or anything like that. You're not going to be adding an external graphics card, but you could add a lot more storage by using these ports. There's USB 2.0 there and there, which, as you can see, I've used for a mouse and keyboard. You've got the power in, and you've got two HDMI there and there, which is really good. You've got Ethernet, you've got the headphone port, and you've got a Kensington lock. So that's quite useful, especially if you're attaching it, you know, somewhere public. Around the other side, you've got VGA, which I realize it's an old standard, but it can still be useful when you're testing certain monitors and things like that as well. But despite it kind of look, it does feel plasticky, but I think it does look good, and I think this grill's quite nice as well. And it's not too loud either. It's really not too loud. As far as performance goes, I hope I've showed in this video. I'm using the wrong mouse now. I hope I've showed in this video. I think I've moved the cable there. I think I've showed in this video that this does perform quite well. I mean, years ago, Celeron CPUs were almost unusable, but now you've got a quad-core CPU, which it can do 4K at 60 frames per second. It can browse the web with these. Wi-Fi speeds weren't as good as I would have liked, if I'm honest, but Ethernet speeds were pretty good. But yeah, from a performance point of view, this is a lot better than what I thought. When I was playing games, I think when I was playing in the medium settings, the default settings, it was actually okay, but there was, you know, a few times there was a little bit of kind of stuttering, a little bit of kind of lag, but that was almost eliminated completely. I think when I went down to low settings, I don't remember seeing any kind of lag at all when I just dropped the graphical settings down a little bit. But I did see as well, you know, when I went to the high settings that it was unplayable. So you do have to find that balance when you're playing games or using any application that's going to push this to the limit. You do have to try and find a balance with it. So from a gaming perspective, At least you want to find the right resolution, the right frame rate, and maybe turn off some settings. But this will maybe surprise you what type of games this will play. So again, when it comes to gaming, don't expect this to be a powerhouse. This is not going to be playing the latest and greatest games like Call of Duty and all that kind of thing. It might be able to play some of those games like Fortnite and that, but you're not going to get a fantastic performance. Let's be honest about this. Be realistic about what this computer can do. Be realistic about what you can use it for, whether it be a media device, light gaming, or just browsing the internet, etc. But if you understand what this is good for, I think you appreciate the price and you appreciate the design and you appreciate that it's a low-powered device as well. So across the board, yes, this is not a powerful device. It's not the most versatile, and it's got some old ports, USB 2.0 and all that. But it's quite hard to be disappointed with this because it ticks so many boxes. So yes, this is something I could recommend, and it's something that I would, perhaps buy myself if it wasn't sent out to me. So yeah, many thanks to ACEPC for sending me this out. I think they've got a good product here. And, with a lot of devices coming from, outside, China and all that kind of thing, you do sometimes sell in the Android world, you have to worry about security and the lack of support. It's not something you need to worry about here because it's Windows 10. You can get all those drivers updated yourself. So yeah, so good. Buy it from Amazon. You've got their return policy as well. So yeah, I was very pleased with this PC, and it's something that I'm looking forward to using. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and check out my unboxing to get a better understanding as to how you open it up, etc. But at the very least, I hope from the unboxing and from this video, you've got a better understanding as to what this can do and what it can't do. So until next time, guys, take care.